Hey, I'm Dr. Pilet. I want to talk to you a little bit about a term that you probably haven't heard a lot of, but it's an interesting term, and it's called attachment hunger. Attachment hunger. You know hunger? You get hungry? You all know what that is, right? Your stomach's growling. You know, you have a need for food. You need to find some energy. When I ask you to think about attachment hunger, I really want you to change your shift, though. Instead of being hungry for a relationship, I want you to shift to thinking about your childhood. Thinking about those times in your life that you were involved in a relationship with mom and dad. Think about that whole idea of stages of development. I want you to, if you can, just for a moment, think about a newborn baby, newborn child. You know, before that child is born, I'm in that really warm, comfortable place, surrounded by embryonic fluid. I don't have to eat because I'm fed by mom. It's a very, very comfortable place. And then birth. Holy crap. Now from being warm all the time, I'm cold. Oh man, now I'm hungry. And so from the very youngest memory of your life, as we observe, if you will, if you can't remember, most of us can't, but you have that baby being held, and that baby is being weaned. That baby's being fed. And as that baby is fed, they're enjoying the warmth of you holding them. Your eyes, you're looking right at them. A baby is 100% dependent emotionally and physically for all their care. 100%. But after 6 months, maybe 9 months, the child begins to move around a little bit by himself. Now the child feels cold, they cry, and who comes but mom? The child feels hungry, who comes? Mom. And every time that child has a need, as you get to a year, year and a half, 2 years old, guess who's always coming? Mom. Mom's always there. The idea that as a child, all of us start off with 100% dependency, emotionally and physically, for our safety as well, for mom. Mom to be there. As we get into 3, 4, 5 years old, and of course, there's dads out there, but the child becomes more aware, there's another person that's responsible for my welfare. I got dad. Dad can feed me. Dad can hold me. And that child's emotional energy is dispersed across two people. I feel safe. I feel dependent. I feel good when I'm with either mom or with dad. Now, as you get to 6, 7, 8, as a child gets older, we start to spread that idea of who cares for me. But you might have heard this expression before, and I saw it quoted someplace, and it said that the main job of a parent is to disillusion the child that I'm the most important part of their life. To disillusion them. You know, sometimes we call that launch the kids, because kids would never go home if you always fed them and always provided comfort, etc. So the idea that I'm separating myself from you, that mom and dad, the family, the caretakers, the babysitters, all of us are separating themselves. So as I get a little bit older in life, I really don't have to have somebody else in my life. I can live autonomously. I can live on my own. I can make decisions about who I want to be with. The problem I have is when I go back to this idea of attachment hunger, the idea that I'm hungry to be attached. I'm going to tell you my feeling is 50% of the men I work with really didn't get through those developmental stages quite like they should have, and they're still hungry. They're hungry for that attachment that wasn't quite accurate with their mom or their dad. I talk to people all the time that have vague memories of being dropped off at a babysitter and being left alone. They have vague memories of crying and weeping and people thinking, you know what, the child will get stronger, they'll become more bold, they'll be able to be more self-sufficient, let them cry for a while. Without realizing that from a developmental stage, a child is not a small version of an adult. Psychologically, a child is not a small version of an adult. That child has insecurities that if not fed appropriately, those insecurities can linger on for the rest of their lives. The fact that I wasn't getting that eye contact at those developmental stages. I didn't get that sense of security at that developmental. You can be locked in to having a need that's unmet, a scratch that you can't scratch. And so I get concerned with later in life as my guys get into 16, 17, 18, 19, they begin to hang around another woman, another person. And understand it's physical contact. Notice I didn't say sex. Physical, just being with somebody, cuddling, holding, sitting, watching TVs. But just the idea of being with someone all the time, and I'm getting this need met that I didn't realize is an unmet, unsatisfied desire to be connected to someone. And you've heard me say this many times. You can be emotionally bonded to someone, but not fulfill my definition of love. Not fulfill. Love is a process, not a destination. It's an assertive dedication to problem solve and developing a collaborative lifestyle that we may stay together. Now you can write that down later, but it's in my book. But think that's what love is. Is it quite possible that you can be with someone, connect to them emotionally, and they're not the right person? But because you have this attachment hunger, because you have this vacuum inside where you just want to be loved, you want to be with someone, that you've connected with someone unintentionally, and you're as bonded to them as you were to your own parents. But now we have difficulties. I want to ask you to think about attachment hunger. Understand, if you've worked your way into a relationship and that relationship is rocky, and you can't separate yourself from that relationship, but let's just say something occurs, an argument, a fight, or whatever, and in separating yourself by saying, look, I don't want to see you this weekend. And it's just a weekend. It's just a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But you have such intense feelings of abandonment, all or nothingism. That's one characteristic of what I call attachment hunger. The idea that I can't stay away from that person just for a couple of days without feeling extreme sense of anxiety, my head spinning. The second part of that, head spinning. Feelings that are so controlled by the lack of presence of the other person that when they're not around me, even though it's just for a couple of days, because there's this feeling of us being pulled apart, I'm filled with thoughts. My head can't stop. I just keep thinking about them. And emotionally, we go through depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety. Anxiety, it's like energy you have and you can't get rid of it. Depression, I don't want to get out of bed. I drive the car down the street, I feel so dull, I feel so not with it, I just want to go home, I want to go to bed, I want to just park myself someplace and just sit. But when you sit, what do you think about? Where is she? What is she doing? What did I do wrong? What can I do right? The third part that I'd like you to think about is what I consider a characteristic of attachment hunger. Has to do with logically, when you look at this person and you look at the interactions of this relationship, the lack of problem solving, the lack of collaborative lifestyle, life is what God gave you, a style is how you lead it. We can't bring our lifestyles together. And when you logically think about this, you know here, head, not heart, this is a bad relationship. When everything you logically states, comes out right there, it's in your face, red flashing light. This is not good. This is not good. So think about what I just said. I'm not with her. When I'm not with her, I feel like the world is ending. It's like having an addiction. I can't imagine me going through life without this. Just to know it's there and on the shelf, but I won't touch it. To know that your head is spinning, your feelings, a roller coaster of depression, anxiety. And the third part, to logically know this is bad. There's nothing good about it. It's me at my worst. When we're together, the shit is always hitting the fan. When we're together, it's always more problems than solutions. And then finally, the fourth thing I would like you to think about is as you scan what I just spoke to you, I'm going to offer the word addiction. This is more like an addiction than it is a relationship. From a neurotransmitter, from your serotonin and norepinephrine, all those neurotransmitters, and the way that they saturate your body, the feelings you have when they're not with you, and you go through, it's withdrawal. It's withdrawal. And sometimes it's just like an addiction where I have a person that's battling through staying away from alcohol. They'll say, I tell you what, I'll go to the bar and I'll just have 2 drinks. That's it. It's all about me. It's not the alcohol. It's me. They say the same thing. I'll just give her a call and I'll see how she's doing. I want to show her I'm a nice guy. I just want to give her one call, just a call to tell her how good I'm doing, tell her how wonderful life is, because she'll realize I'm a good guy. And when I say stay away, oh, well, it's not her, she's fine, it's me, I'm the one with the problem. But then didn't you just tell me that logically your relationship doesn't make any sense because you argue, you fight, and you don't get along on so many different planes and so many different habits. Well, yeah, but you know, if I just let her know that I love her at a distance, you know, she can go about her life, and I'm gonna breathe into it with forgiveness, and I'm gonna be altruistic. I'm gonna be a good friend. That's what it is. I'm gonna be a good friend. I'm gonna be a good friend and tell her, I am so proud of you. That's all I need. And I say, no, no. Can you not do that? Can you just stay away? Withdrawal, addiction. When I'm away from her, I can't stop thinking about her. When I'm away from her, I hurt more. I can't imagine her not being in my life. It doesn't make any sense. I have a scorecard that's so full with all of the baggage that any logical person would say, run, Herman, run like hell. And when I sit in a quiet place and actually go through what it might take for me to do that, it kills me. I'm so distressed. I'm so overwhelmed with anxiety. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You're back to number one. Just the idea that I'm being abandoned. Go back to where I was talked about. You as a child. Mom left you. You're crying. You're hungry. You're wet. You're 2 years old. And you don't know that mom's just in the kitchen and forgot that you're there. It wasn't anything intentional. But you have an emotional boil down as you have these insecurities that are still fostered inside. And I'll bet you 50% of the men I work with have genuine insecurities left over because the disillusionment that was the responsibility of the parent to teach the child as they grew was not successfully done. Marriages break up. A lot of parents don't realize my emotional bond to my genetic parent is much stronger than the caretaker you want to pay $5 an hour to take care of me. And the caretaker that's trying to take care of me is saying, oh, he'll shut up if he'll cry himself to sleep. He will. I've done this for a living. He'll cry himself to sleep. But what's really missing? I need mom. I need dad. And when we get these people that take care of our children because they're paid workers and they don't have that genetic connection, you know, when I hug my dad and I put my nose right here on his neck, that's dad. I smell my dad. You know? Well, how many of us were held by someone that wasn't mom, that wasn't dad? And maybe their pampering and their affection to try to get us to calm down truly wasn't what we needed. We just need, it's okay that children miss their parents. But we've got to be very careful because some of us later in life, we have that illusion that we are alone and we're needy and we're not complete and we're not whole. And as we venture into relationships, as we now are with somebody we met and it was a good evening and we spend the night together, and oh, by the way, I'm at your place, you're at my place. Why? Because I just don't want to be alone. Why should we be alone when we don't have to? And we enjoy each other so much. It's such a nice fit. But as time progresses, you start to see differences in your value system. The idea of what you do for a living is something I would never do for a living. Your interests, your likes, your hobbies are not what I like. And as these differences start to show, but you're still living together, because I'm very connected, I'm emotionally bonded to you. I didn't say the word love, could be. But what if I'm emotionally bonded to you and I'm so used to being with you, we're together in and day out. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you. What? I'm pregnant. What? What? Well, how did that happen? I don't know how that happened. Now, A plus B equal what? A plus B equal what? AB. And I've had lots of guys, the A say, I love my AB, but keep me away from that B because she's a bitch. The bond to the child far exceeds the bond to the mother who produced the child. And this is a men's group. And I'll tell you this, I hear it all the time. A plus B, AB. Oh, I love my AB. Sometimes there's a ABC and an ABD. But the idea that, guess what? You made a mistake. You allowed yourself to continue a relationship that logically you thought wasn't going to make sense, didn't make sense, but you continued to such a point that you couldn't get out. And in their absence, it was just like an addiction, but you kept in it anyway. There was more problems and solutions. The intensity of the arguments, the emotional intensity never went away. Then the baby's born. Now think about the children that are raised in that type of hostile environment. I'm picking up the child from you, you're picking up the child from me, and we have these nondescript households of strangers. Mom's dating somebody. Of course, the person they're dating doesn't have the emotional connection that you had. You're dating someone. Now, neither one of you realize that, my God, this child is not getting the needs met that only you can meet as parents. And those children are going through abandonment issues right now while you're raising them. And their mate selection will be determined by some of this bullshit that's going on right now. Because they have hunger to be with the persons, the A plus B. I got hunger. I need to be with you. Emotionally, I'm connected to you. I need to be with you. I ask you to think about these 4 ideas, if you will, and just process this information. If in fact you feel that you are one of those people that have these attachment issues, I have some wonderful ideas on how you can resolve that, how you can work through that. It does work. Again, I'm Dr. Pilet.